Good day on this summer day. There's just so much here I want to get right into for the 14th Sunday in Ordinary Time, July the 6th. It really starts off talking about answering the question, who is God? But it's only to start off the conversation to talk about, well, who is God? And who are we in relation to God? In order to be able to get into a relationship with that God, with our God. But God is so enormous. And yet, we're just a human being. Well, the way he begins is quite simply to put us at ease. To talk about our God being meek and humble, peace-filled, brings peace and restfulness to all. As a way of saying, he is so approachable. He is so warm and concerned, caring. He is a God who is in it for us. We are very loved and important to him. He is for us in every way. In that second reading, Romans chapter 8, verse 8, then 11 to 13, Paul gets into a sort of a psychology, a spiritual psychology, so that we can talk about what it means to be people who are self-centered versus God-centered. God, first of all, as a basis of all this, is open to those who is God. God is open to those who are open to him. But on the other side, God is closed to those who are filled with themselves. What does it mean to be filled with yourself? Well, it means to be in the flesh. It means to be flesh or material-centered people. We're all about things. To be debtors to the flesh. To live according to the flesh. Our own flesh, our own bodies own us, rule us. They give us desires and we follow those desires. It's whatever our bodies want, we do. Whatever our flesh calls us to, we're obedient to our flesh. I am, and then behind that, there's a sense, another issue is we have a sense of I am all that I really need or I want. I am self-centered. The other side of that is to be open to God, is to take God as the God over all our lives. He is the Lord of my life. Because I realize I cannot provide for myself, for what I really need. I find that living in myself as though I am all I need is a dead end. I am all I want. It ends literally in death. Because I'm never going to be able to provide all I need for eternity. Going on, God is God, I am not. That seems like such a basic idea, almost silly to say. But if you think about it, it's very profound. God is God, and I am not. I can never be the God over my life and truly serve with all the power that God has. I can never have that power. God is the God of my life, the Lord over me. As human beings, that's very difficult to accept. It's not natural to accept that he is the Lord over me. I have to ask his grace. I have to live in his grace in order to be able to accept that, to live it. But when we stop and think about it, it's a mutual kind of a thing. He belongs to me. I belong to him. We belong to one another. He's on a different level than I am, but nonetheless, we belong to one another. In the gospel reading, the famous gospel reading from Matthew chapter 11, verses 25 to 30. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am meek and humble of heart. For God to be God of my life, I must love his will. I must take his yoke on me. I must love his will. I must come under his yoke and do his will. To draw life from God is to love him as God over our lives, to accept his yoke. But that frees us from having the responsibility of bearing our lives on our own. We still have responsibility over our lives, but it's in a much lesser, milder form. He has, once we are people who belong to him as our God, he had to belong to his will. He has the principal responsibility over my life. I accept his will. He's the one who's really in charge of me. Our lives mean, he's in charge of our lives, mean that God bears the responsibility for me. I never need to worry. That's the central thing. God is the one who has the principal responsibility. What it means to have faith in God means that he's the one who's responsible for me. He's the one who takes charge of me. Because I live in his will, I have him as God over me. He is my life. He is my God. May God bless us all in him.